Hello and welcome to Exotic Gardening UK. The sun's shining, it's a fantastic day, plenty to be getting on with in the garden, and the dry weather continues. So although we had a bit of rain the other night and morning, the water butt is practically empty. We only have about 3 or 4 centimetres in there. We hardly got any rain here, so the ground is really dry. Watering my tree ferns every day and watering some of the other plants as well, like the gunnera, just to get that going. But the warm weather is really helping things grow. The only thing holding things back now are the nighttime temperatures, which are still pretty cool, and obviously the lack of water for some plants as well. So this week I'm going to be just concentrating on one area of the garden, and that's at the back of the garden where the muja baju, the bananas and the palms are before the eucalyptus trees. That middle island bed needs a lot of work. Need to tidy out the area, need to dig up the weeds, clear back lots of plants, need to deal with the Tetrapanax Rex there as well, and make a few decisions about what I'm going to plant in a big hole left by a dead palm tree. So that is to come. A couple of things before we go on to that. Thank you so much for all the messages that I've received. I do try to reply to as many as possible, either on YouTube or Facebook and Messenger, but I've been getting like 20 a day for the last week or two, and I do apologise because I've not got back to more than half of them recently. It's been so busy. If I don't answer your question, I'm not ignoring you. I've either not seen it or I've been basically too busy with everything else going on as well. But we'll try to get there. Also, people ask me, do I sell plants? I don't sell plants. I don't send them in the post or anything like that, because I'm not set up for plant passporting, not a commercial nursery. And I do like to support the main nurseries where you can get exotic plants and promote them. So I will tell you where I buy my plants from, that's no problem at all. I don't sell them. The only exception is when I have an open day, I'll have plants for sale. So if people visit on the open days, there'll be plants hopefully for sale on those days, but because of the situation we're in, there'll be none of those open days in 2020. So, on with today's episode. I'm at the back of the garden now, in this area that's got pretty messy over winter, with lots of weeds coming through, and I've not tidied the area around the plants yet, but I'm going to do that today. This area of the garden was meant to be sort of, as you get towards the back of the garden, you have sort of big trees, lots of foliage, and it felt very like enclosed jungle. And that does work in summer, because just behind me we've got the Miscanthus giganteus grass, and that gets well over my head. We've got the bamboos here, we've got the Tetrapanax Rex here, which is probably, well, the top of the trunks now are 2.5 metres tall, and the foliage easily gets to over 3 metres when that fully comes out. And I've got my palm trees, so I've got my Trachycarpus princeps palm trees, the hybrids. There's about 5 of these dotted about. Some are close, and the idea is it looks quite natural in this area. And at ground level, I've got my cannas coming up now, and I've also got my begonias, and they've started sprouting. So everything's come through winter unscathed in this area, but something that didn't a couple of years ago was this Washingtonia robusta. I've left it a couple of years, and now it's time that I dig this out and have a new planting opportunity in this space. I'm going to clear this bed, Miscanthus, I'm going to move most of that as well. And I'm really going to clear this area and make it much more how I really want it, which is basically lots of green foliage but with some splashes of colour as well. Well, after half an hour of struggling and digging and chopping away at the roots of this palm, I've finally got it clear of the ground. It's a bit sad that this palm's died, but that is to be expected because this palm, this Washingtonia robusta trunk here, it's not suitable for the climate that I'm growing it in here in the north of England really. Bought this, one of the first palms I bought back in 2007, so it's lasted nearly 13 years. It's grown in a pot for most of that time, and you had to get a bigger and bigger pot, and then it was in something like a 100-litre pot at least at the end. So I had to plant it out, and it's sunny here, but it's a little bit shady at times in summer, and I think that has not helped it get through the colder winters, and it's never thrived since it's been in the ground. But obviously it gives me an opportunity to plant something else in this spot. But before I get rid of this trunk, just thought I'd share a couple of thoughts about palm trees and the trunks and the growth. Here we have obviously the base of the trunk, and you can see the bottoms of 20 centimetres or so is proper, what you call proper fibrous trunk. Then further up, most of it I've chopped off. You've got the bases of the leaves that die back eventually to form the trunk. And the roots, some people are worried about putting palms near houses and other buildings. Well, there's nothing really to worry about, because if you look at the base, I know this died back a little bit, but there's millions of roots, and none of them are thicker than, what, a centimetre across at most. And they stay that thick. They don't get hard and woody and thicker over time like general trees that we get in the UK. So they don't expand and heave up foundations or anything like that. So you can grow them pretty close to buildings if you wish, of modern houses. So that is this palm tree. It is going to be taken away, probably put in a skip, and then we've got this planted opportunity here for some nice summer colour. Now, one weed that I seem to get at the bottom of the garden is this garlic-like plant. I don't know exactly what it is. I'll just pull it up. It's got long, slender leaves. It's got white flowers that are definitely part of the onion family. It's not chives, because it's not that dark, thin, grassy-like foliage as such. And it's not wild garlic, because it's not got that big, wider leaves, but it smells like garlic, and it has little bulbs. And it comes up at the back of the garden. And I think it's probably edible, because it smells pretty nice. But I just get, I've not been able to get a bulb there. See if I can get one here. Nope, but basically little white bulbs look like mini pickling onions, basically, little pearl onions. So if anybody knows what this is, I'd love to know. I'll just carry on clearing it from this bed. Here we are by my largest Tetrapanax papyrifera Rex, which is well over 2.5 metres tall before the leaves start coming out. And you may remember last year I was in this exact same position, and I was talking about which of these stems I'm going to remove. Well, in the end, I didn't remove any. So I've still got these 3 big stems here. I have made the decision that I'm going to remove 1 or 2 of these. That's for a couple of reasons. First one is, it makes such a huge canopy over this area, because the leaves span out and cover about 3 or 4 metres across in all directions. The plants underneath and behind are really sheltered and shaded in a couple of months' time, and then for the rest of the summer and autumn. So I want to make a bit more airiness in this area. And the other reason is this first stem, the oldest one, which comes from down here. There's a hollow on one side where an aborted stem had fallen off, left this circle. In there, if you just shake that a little bit, you can just about see it's full of water. So that could cause rot in here. If you've ever cut through this plant, you'll know it's full of pith. So it's pretty easy to cut through. And that pith obviously could rot in there with all this water in it. And also, it's got pith. It's called the rice paper plant is the other name, and that's where the rice paper is made out of the pith. So I'm going to cut through this one at an angle on the slope so that water can just fall away and not cause rot. And then I'm going to cut away this stem, leaving this one vertical one in the middle to tower up, and all the energy from the roots will go through the main trunk into this main stem, and all the leaves will be nice and big over the next few months just from this stem. And these 2 I'm going to cut off. So I'm going to start underneath at an angle, and then I'm going to go in there and cut from the middle, which is quite hard because it's so close to the other one. Just start it off there a little bit, just to get through the back. But most of the work I'm going to do from underneath. I'm going to carry on cutting this up and leave a nice clean wound. And I'll do the same with this one. I'm going to start from the top, just do a little bit here and a bit underneath, and then cut that straight through. That's goodbye, Tetrapanax. Right, two of the main stems chopped off. It does look pretty brutal, I know, but now all the energy, like I said, will go into this main stem. I'll have a fantastic display of huge exotic leaves this summer. And if you have a look at these two cuts, you can see on the top cut where the freshest or the newest shoot was, there's no real dieback there. You can see the pith in the centre. Around the edges you've got the trunk, the bark. And the low one, where it had that water, you can see it's actually rotting away a bit. It's all gooey in the middle of the pith and it looks a bit rotten, so it's a good job I've cut that. And this is the best time of year to do it because it's got time to heal over and callus over well before autumn and winter when we get the cold weather again. So this is a good opportunity to do so. Thin this out. Now I've got another issue with this plant that you can't see here, and that is all the runners that's gone over this bed. There's lots of little mini T-Rex plants that I need to remove as well, so that's my next job. So here, more than a metre away from the main trunk, we've got some of these Tetrapanax Rex pups that have grown over the last year or two, and these are mainly the underground roots go across in all directions, and then along the roots these just pop up where the roots have been damaged or sometimes on their own accord. If you've been digging around Tetrapanax Rex, you'll notice after a few months you'll get these plants pop up. We've got tiny ones and some bigger ones here. So all I'm going to do is just pull them up by hand. Just basically, I'm not trying to propagate these. So they come away. Sometimes you get a few roots, you could propagate that, but I just want to get rid of them. Quick and easy job. The one thing I will say about Tetrapanax Rex is underneath, got this rusty coloured fluff that makes you cough. So if you've got breathing difficulties, you might not want to be doing this right now. But it always gives me a cough for about 2-3 days afterwards when I've been working on these, when I get the cement on them, for breathing it in. So be careful around these. Anyway, there's about 50 of these across this bed. I'm going to just pull up now and clear this space. So on this corner of the bed that I'm working on today, I've got this fantastic bamboo. This is Phylostachys parvifolia. It's a small leaved bamboo but huge timber stems in ideal locations. Here they're not super thick at all yet, but give it another 5-10 years, hopefully it'll mature and get thicker stems with lots of food and watering. I've been thinning out this, so I've already gone through and thinned out some of the bases of the canes that I cut off last summer. But this last cane I'm going to have to get rid of on this corner because it comes out well over the path and it's quite hard to get down here. So I'm going to go to the base and just basically cut through it. It should be quite easy. Like that. So these are hollow stemmed bamboos, like most, well, all Phylostachys bamboos are. And that's about 4 meters tall. But now it's removed, I can easily walk through here unimpeded. Well, now I think I've pretty much finished clearing this bed, done all the weeding, taking out all the T-Rex pups, and I've also cut down the main T-Rex stems, so that looks a lot better now. I've also thinned out the bamboo quite a lot over there and removed the lower dead leaves of the Trachycarpus palms. I'll just take a moment just to show you the difference. These are all planted at the same time, same size. This one here is doing rather well with a nice sturdy trunk, but the one next to it is tiny compared, little trunk, and that's because it's been outcompeted by the miscanthus grasses to one side and the other two palms in front of it, so it's been a bit more shaded and it probably hasn't got much water or nutrient, so it's not done as well. And then if we pan round, we can see a Another one that's doing pretty well here as well. Nice big leaves on this one. I'll just walk around this bed. You can see how huge those leaves are when I get a bit closer. Come down this side, got another Trachycarpus princeps hybrid here. Got the bamboo in this corner. It'll be taking over this bed in a few years' time, going all over here. Got the Musabaju. Nice leaves unfurling on these now. And then next to that is the Butia odorata, grown from a very small plant. Very impressive plant in this corner of this island bed. We just get past that. You can just see the bed from the other side with the new leaves unfurling on this Trachycarpus princeps hybrid. So that's this middle bed done. It's been a lot of work. One thing I've not done today, which I wanted to get done, was to actually dig up the miscanthus grasses. As you can see, I've got rid of pretty much all the old foliage down to ground level. New foliage emerging. And there's 2 or 3 big plants here, and it's really, really difficult to dig up. It's very tough. So I'm going to leave that for another day, and then I need to think about where I'm going to put these plants. And that will open up this area, so lots more light will get here. So I can do some more colourful flowers, as well as these nice architectural palms in this area. So thank you for watching Exotic Gardening UK. Join me next week, where I'll be doing more in the garden.